As you probably agree, knowing all the notes on the guitar fretboard is essential for every guitarist. However, when I started, it was so difficult for me to learn the name of the notes on the neck. I could find them with time, but my goal was instant recognition, similar to knowing the multiplication tables. Just like knowing that 3 times 3 is 9. I wanted to instantly know that this, for example, is an F sharp. At first I tried different shortcuts, hoping to find a miraculous method. However, after experiencing some deep frustration, I came to the conclusion that there is only one way to master all the notes. Engaging myself deeply in the subject and putting in the necessary effort. So that's exactly what I did. And now I can instantly recognize all different notes when I look at the fretboard. Have you ever struggled with learning guitar notes like I did? Stick around and I'll share the secrets that helped me learn the fretboard. In an old Indian story, 3 men encounter an elephant on a dark night. The darkness was so intense they could only rely on their sense of touch. Each man touches a different part of the elephant and described it based on their limited perspective. One perceives it as a snake, the trunk, another as a rope, the tail, and the last as tree trunks, the legs. But just as these individuals put together the elephant's true form using different perspectives, I'll show you how to gradually master guitar notes from various angles. In this lesson you will learn 7 different approaches to finding and practicing all the notes on the guitar. Each approach provides his own perspective, but in the end it leads to the same result, identifying the notes. By combining all these perspectives you will be able to recognize the notes immediately all over the neck. The first method we will learn is a visual one. We memorize a shape. The great benefit of this method is that it can be moved all over the neck, giving us a good overview of where the notes are that we practice. This is the shape. To learn this shape, we assign a number to each position. However, once we have memorized the shape, the numbers are no longer needed. Now we start on the first fret on the E string. The note we are going to practice is then an F. Now we are going to apply the shape. Here is the 1. This is the number 2. This is the number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6. After reaching the 1 again, we can start all over it and play the next octave. There are different ways to memorize it. I recommend that you start with the first note and the second and the third. And then just learn that. That's enough for one day. For some even for a week. Then you go to the next step and you learn the first 4 steps, and you go on like this. If you do this step-by-step approach, you soon will know this shape. You also can divide them into 2 similar shapes that are moved up 1 string. The first shape is this one, and the next one is this one. You see, it's 2 frets, 3 frets, 2 frets, 3 frets. And as soon as you know the shape, it's really movable. You can play all over the neck with it. Now we do the same thing with the note C. We start on the 8th fret of the E string, that's a C, and then move up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. But we can also go down the neck using shapes 1, 6, 5, 4, and so on. My guitar is only 22 frets, so there are only 11 Cs, but if you have more frets, the shape stays always the same and you have just more Cs. So if we know one note, we can find all the other notes using this pattern. By shifting the shapes up and down, we can create all 12 notes. Now we go to the A string and we're gonna play the natural notes, what are A, B, C, D, F, G. Between B and C and E and F is a half tone. This is just 1 fret distance. All the other notes have a whole step. and that is 2 frets distance. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. What we play now is what all the white keys on the piano are. If you want to play the dark keys, we need sharps and flats. The sharps make it a half step higher and the flats a half step lower. So example, if we want to play a C sharp, that's a half step higher, that's here. A C sharp is at the same time a D flat. So now we could play on one string all possible notes. And after 12 frets, everything repeats. There is a much better way to practice all the notes than practice them with just stepwise motion. That is by practice them in the circles of fifths. There is a lot to say about the circles of fifths, but the important thing for us today is that you can practice all possible notes in a never-ending circle, and it gives us different and more practical perspectives. In the beginning this can be really frustrating to look at such a complex circle. But again, you could just start with 2 notes and then the next day you learn 1 more and soon you know all the notes. As I said, we're going to start really simple. The first note in the circle is a C. Then the next one is a G. We find it, because I did it a lot of times. I can find it really fast, but you take your time. So you just learn these 2 notes. And then that's probably enough for one day. The next day you're going to learn C, G, and the next one is D. The D is here. So you have 3 notes. And you have already a fourth of the whole notes that exist. And so you could go on. If we did that with 1 string, we could do that with all the other strings too, right? And soon we know the whole fretboard from this 1 string perspective. If we move the circle of fifths in the other way around, we practice everything in the circles of fourths. So it's C, F, B flat, E flat, and so on. Now if we know the first 2 exercises very well, we can go to this advanced one that combines the first 2. We're going to use the circle of fifths and fourths, but this time we're going to play just on 1 string before we move to the next string and try to find all the notes of this 1 note we practice on this 1 string. So it's easier to show than to talk about it. So this is the E string. So we try to find a C there. This is our C. And there's another C here. Then we go to the A string. And here is a C. And here is a C. On the D string, because my guitar only has 21 frets, I can just play 1 C. And then I go to the G string, and so on. So we can move with 1 note all over the neck in all the strings. And we go on like this till we can do it again with all 12 notes in the circle of fifths. Another more advanced practice is to start on the first fret and name all the notes. F, B flat, E flat, G sharp, C, F. Then move up to the second fret and do the same thing, F sharp, and so on. The first 2 or 3, even 4 frets are pretty easy, but if you go further, it's getting much more difficult. B, E, A, D, F sharp, B. And we move on till we have all the notes of the fret. So we can go till the highest fret, in my case 21. C sharp, F sharp, B, E, G sharp, C sharp. So in the end, you know all 21 or 24 or 22 frets. If you have practiced all the exercises from before, you should have now a really good understanding of all the notes on the neck. However, one thing is missing. We did not address yet which C we are playing. You can name different notes, in general divided by octaves from C0 to C8. The lowest note possible to play on guitar is E2. And if you have 24 frets, the highest note is E6, or in my case, C sharp 6. Some of the notes exist only once on a single string, but most of them can be found multiple times. For example, the E4 note can be found on all 6 strings if you have 24 frets. The C4 note, for instance, can be played and be found on my guitar 5 times. So you could start with the E2, what is just on the low E string because it's the lowest note, and then move up to E6 and always try to find all the possible notes on all the frets and on all the strings. Again, it will take some time to do that, but don't worry. For example, if you practice 1 octave per week, in a month you will have covered the entire fretboard. The next exercise can be of great value if you want to improve your ability to read sheet music. But even if you don't, the main benefit of this exercise is that it provides a clear visible hint where the pitch is. You can see it on the note paper, because higher notes are higher, lower notes are lower on note paper. Now we visualize how the note looks in our mind. So for example, here the E has 3 lines under the normal stuffs, and then you see the note. So I see that in my mind and then I'll play the E. The next one is the F. The F has 3 lines but is on the 3rd line around, like this. Then the F sharp. And I can go on like this, again with the same method as before, step by step. When I started learning the notes, I came across a book that asked the question, there are 12 notes, what else do you know with 12? And the obvious answer is 12 months. So I set a goal for myself to learn all the notes within 12 months. Initially it might seem like a long time, but if you look at it from a long-term perspective, what is a year for learning an instrument? If someone had come to me at that time and told me that I could have access to all the notes within a year by signing a contract, I would have signed it. So I started practicing and it worked. Now when I look at the fingerboard, I can see all the notes immediately. So learning all the notes is not like a 100-meter run, but it's more like a marathon. When a famous marathon runner was asked how he does it, he replied, I always try to run to the next crossroad, and once I'm there, I run to the next one. The key is to be patient yet persistent. Start by practicing the first lesson for just some minutes every day, then gradually combine it with the second lesson. Then if you have the second and first lesson down, go to the third and fourth. I guarantee that in the near future you will finally and permanently solve all the problems where you have with notes. You will find every note immediately. Start by practicing the first lesson for just some minutes every day. Then gradually combine it with the second lesson. Then if you have the first and second lesson a little bit down, go to the third and go on like this. And in the near future, you will finally and forever solve the problems with the notes. You will find all the notes forever. And this work, it can take some months, but the great thing is that you will gradually see the progress, and this feels really good. It's really important to know all the notes, but if you want to understand what they mean in context, watch this next video. I will explain how to organize the fretboard in a musical way. For more content like this, please subscribe and have fun practicing. Thanks for watching.